Hi YouTube, this is BrickGamer73 and welcome back to the channel. I thought what I'd do today is like a little bit of a vlogging piece really, or maybe a question, or just go through some of the games that I've got that I think were really good but kind of criminally underrated or under-reviewed, or they were reviewed really badly, but I think that they maybe were misjudged, or they had good points, or maybe games that, didn't do as well as they should have been. So I'm just going to go through a couple of games that I like. Got any thoughts on these particular games, or games yourself that you think were really good but didn't sell as well as they could have done? Put them in the comments below, and yeah, it'd be great. So the first game I'm going to get into is a game that came out on PS3 and the Xbox, and that is Fuse. Now, Fuse was made by Insomniac, who made, I'm pretty sure they made Fall of Man, Resistance Fall of Man, and I think they might have been responsible for Ratchet & Clank as well. And it's kind of a co-op, kind of cover-based, futuristic shooter kind of game. You play these 4 soldiers in it, and you go to this base that's kind of been doing experiments underground, and you find this stuff called Fuse. And each of the characters has got like a special weapon which is infused with these Fuse technology. And there's some really cool guns in it. Like there's one that kind of throws up a shield. There's like a disintegrating gun, and there's some other stuff there. Oh, there's one that kind of creates some kind of vortex that pulls people into it. And yeah, you can play this in co-op, up to 4 of you if you want, which is really good. I mean, I played it single player, but I still had a hell of a lot of fun with it. When this came out, it just went totally under the radar. I mean, I don't really think anyone really bought it, and it wasn't even promoted that heavily, and it's a shame because it's a really decent squad-based cover shooter, and it should have done a lot better than it did. So yeah, I'd highly recommend you pick this up. It's a really decent game. It's not like revolutionary, but it's fantastic, really fantastic game. The next one is one that you see always see this in like bargain bins, and even in the odd kind of charity shop, and that is a Capcom game, and it's Dark Void. Now, I really love Dark Void. I've actually played this twice, this game. Again, it is another cover-based shooter. It's made by Capcom, and basically you take the role of this fella who kind of gets caught up. He's kind of going through a storm, and his plane crashes, and it turns out he's in some kind of alternate sort of dimension or something, and it's sort of like this robot army trying to take over the world or something, or this planet that he's been transported to. But it's a really good kind of cover shooter with a nice little twist on it. It's not all kind of just hiding behind things on plane level. A lot of it's vertical, so you can be climbing up cliffs and mountains and things like that and cover shooting. And also you can see it's a bit kind of Rocketeer-ish. He's got like a jetpack, so you can actually fly around as well with it. This is a really good game, and a total kind of hidden gem, and definitely worth picking up. And it's really cheap. You can get it for about £1 now if you look around for it. So I highly recommend this game. The next game is one that is an RPG, but it's an RPG with a twist, and that is Alpha Protocol. Now, I wasn't sure about Alpha Protocol when I first got it, because I thought, oh, it's kind of a role-playing game, but it's set in the, like, what's it say, espionage RPG. So it's like a modern-day RPG, but, absolutely brilliant, this game. I've played this. Again, this is another game I've played about twice now. And mainly just because it's so different. It's just such a different take on it. It's sort of Mass Effect, but in an espionage spy kind of way. It's not perfect. The combat in it is a little bit clunky at times, and it probably could do with a bit of spit and polish, this game. But underneath it is a really deep, really good game, and it's got sort of branching storylines. You're kind of in a safe house. You can take missions in any order that you like. There's loads of stuff in it you can upgrade, guns, weapons, and traits. It's got good hand-to-hand combat as well. It's just a really solid game, and this is another one that came out under the radar. No one really bought it, and it's such a shame. It's such a good title, and again, you can really pick this up really cheap now. Next game is a sort of a spin-off of another franchise, and that is Commando Strike Force. Now, this game kind of got a lot of grief when it came out, because anyone who played the original Commandos games will know that they were sort of top-down, sort of strategy games, from an isometric view, and this is kind of nothing like that. This is like a first-person kind of action game, but it still does have elements of that original gameplay. Like, you can still swap between characters. I mean, when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out recently, or last year, whatever, everyone was kind of raving. Oh, it's great because, you know, you can swap between, you know, Trevor and you know, you can be Trevor 1 minute, and then you can be I forgot the other guy's name. You know, Michael the next minute, and it's great. You can go from one. Well, this did this years before. You could, you know, be the commando on the ground, taking, you know, going across the field shooting soldiers, and then you could just click a button and you'd be the sniper rifle in the tower covering them, and then you click another button and you'd be like the mechanic or whatever it is. You know, you could. And this did it years before Grand Theft Auto did it, and it's a great sort of World War II setting and a good sort of stealth game as well. You know, it's got really good stealth elements. It's well underrated, this game, and I think people kind of they kind of dissed it because it was a Commandos game and it wasn't the same as the others. But that didn't make it a bad game within its own right, and I love this game, and it's definitely worth picking up. Commando Strike Force. The next game is a game that I only picked up very recently. I did play the original one and thought it was pretty good. I'm actually still playing this at the moment because I only got it a couple of weeks ago, and that is Darksiders II. Now, both the Darksiders games are fantastic games. Again, really underrated. Probably didn't get promoted enough and pushed enough, and they didn't sell that well. Now, the first one I did enjoy, but I found it a little bit too tough in some places, and I found the combat not as rewarding as it could have been. But this one, which I'm playing at the moment, Darksiders II, is absolutely brilliant. It's kind of a mixture between Tomb Raider. It's got some really good Tomb Raider puzzle elements in there. It's kind of got the feel of Soul Reaver, and I used to love Soul Reaver. And the artwork on it is amazing. It's a beautiful looking game. It's got a really good story to it. It's got a kind of a great kind of upgrade system where you kind of can loot stuff and swap it all around, a bit sort of like Diablo or something like that. And it's a really great game. And this, I found this in I found this in a charity shop, but you can still buy it brand new now for about a tenner. On the Wii U, or even less if you want it on PlayStation 3 or Xbox. It's just such a great game, and it's such a shame that I know the studio that made it has closed down now, so it's very unlikely we're ever going to see Darksiders 3. But it's such a pity because this, I think they really nailed it with this game, and I'm about 3/4 of the way through it now, and I'm still absolutely loving this game. It's brilliant. So yeah, Darksiders 2. Another game that should have sold more than it did. Staying with the Wii U is a Wii U launch title, and that is Zombie U. I was really pleasantly surprised by this game. Now, I can understand why some people didn't like it. There is a mechanic in it that if you die, you've got to go right back to a certain place within the game and kind of do the start again. But it's a very clever kind of system where when you die in this game, when you're killed by a zombie, you restart the level as a different person, and then when you go back out, you actually find the person that you were as a zombie. They changed. The person you were playing previously before you died has turned into a zombie and is carrying all your equipment. So you can actually loot your previous self to get your stuff back. And I thought that was a really clever mechanic in it. And probably when you think about it, it's more like it would be in maybe a real zombie apocalypse. You know, once you're dead, you are dead in it. You know, you wouldn't come back alive. Graphically and atmospherically, it's brilliant. The London setting is absolutely amazing. I love it when you go around Buckingham Palace and it's full of zombies. Really creepy game as well. And it's probably one of the few games that really does use the Wii controller properly, the Wii U controller properly, and utilise it properly. But again, it kind of got middling reviews. It didn't review great. I don't think it's sold that amazingly. It's another game you can pick up for like £5 or £6 now. And it's such a shame because I would have liked to see a sequel to this. I just think it's a really neat idea and a really underrated game. Next up is another first-person shooter. It's quite an old one, but another one you can find in the charity shops and on car boots all the time, and that's Time Shift. I really enjoyed Time Shift. It has dated a little bit graphically. It's one of the earlier PS3 or Xbox 360 titles, but it still looks pretty good. It's one of the first games that properly uses the whole time thing, where you can rewind time, pause time, and it kind of does work in this game. Some other games kind of try to stab at it, don't really nail it, but really nailed it in this game. And it's really kind of exhilarating when you're in the middle of a really big kind of firefight, taking out a load of like super soldiers or whatever they are in the game, and you can just like pause it and you can shoot someone, pause time, run around the back of them, and shoot them in the head. Or there's a great thing in it where actually you shoot at the guys and you can pause time and you can shoot the gun out of the hand, and then when you start time again, they're kind of going, "Oh, where's my gun gone?" And, they're looking all confused, and it's really good. I actually did play this online a couple of years ago as well, and it was really great, the multiplayer, because you can actually use the pause mechanic within the multiplayer as well, which was really clever. So yeah, it's a really underrated title, Time Shift, and another game that didn't particularly commercially do that well, but it's a shame because it's a fantastic game. Another game is Cold War, which is an old sort of original Xbox. I think it came out on the PlayStation 2 and also the PC. I really like this game. A lot of people just thought this was kind of a budget Splinter Cell, but I thought it was just as good as Splinter Cell. It was slightly not as well polished as Splinter Cell, but some of the gadgets in this are really great. Especially it's got these kind of... he's got this camera. You play this guy who's a reporter, and basically he's trapped behind Russian enemy lines. I don't know when it's set. I think it might be sort of set in the 80s or something. But he's got this camera, which is kind of an X-ray camera. So it's great because when you shoot it, you can actually see through walls, but you can also see through people. So you see skeletons and stuff walking around. But it's a really good stealth game, and it's really quite tough in places as well. And it's got that really good. It's got a really good crafting system in it, where you find things like rags and plastic. And you can make plastic bullets, or you can make mines like ether mines, and little things that electrocute guards. And you can make lots of little gadgets with stuff you find lying around the levels. And yeah, it's a really cool crafting system in it, and quite deep. And in a lot of ways, this is even better than Splinter Cell in a lot of ways. But another great game that didn't particularly do that well, but it's severely underrated in my opinion, and definitely worth picking up. Yeah, Cold War. Now, the next game is a game that I've mentioned before on my channel, or maybe on my previous channel. A game I kind of champion, but I'm going to mention it again because I do think it needs a bit of love, and because it's so cheap and everyone, at the price you can get it for like £1 now, everyone should own a copy, and that's Red Faction Armageddon. You know, I've said it before. Most people didn't like this game. They didn't like the underground setting in it, which I didn't really understand. I think a lot of people prefer Red Faction Guerrilla, which was the game before this, because they went kind of open world in that game, and you were on the surface of Mars, and you could drive around and stuff. But I preferred this game because this is more organic to what Red Faction was about. Anyone who's played the original Red Faction, that game was pretty much entirely set underground within a cave system, with bases and stuff. And this goes back to that. You know, there are sections of this that are actually on the surface of Mars. It's not all underground, but the majority of it is. The only thing a lot of people said they didn't like was the monsters in it. They're a little bit kind of dead spacey, but you know, I just had so much fun with this game. I've recently just finished this game. After playing it many times but never actually finishing it, I decided to play it all the way through, and I finished it. And I just had a total blast with it. And the Ruin, there's also a mode called Ruin Mode, which is like a timed event, where it gives you so much time to blow up as much kind of the landscape and the environment around you as you can, and that's just a blast as well. And you can play that in co-op as well, sort of versus each other, or you know, it's really is a great game, and I totally recommend it. So don't be put off by the negative reviews about this game. And it's such a shame because this franchise is dead now. You know, they basically buried it after this game because it didn't sell well, and it's such a pity because it's such a great franchise. And I do hope one day it makes a return. Next up is another first-person shooter, and that is Body Count. This got really badly reviewed when it came out, and I don't understand why, because it's such a great game. It's a great, apart from the first level on it, which is a little bit dodgy. The first level's kind of like set in like a Moroccan sort of villagey type place. I'm not really sure, you know, like a town. That's not great, but then some of the other environments you get to later on in this game are brilliant. The graphic is really good. It's got a really good kind of system in it where you can get points for. It's not that dissimilar to Bulletstorm, and this is the game that this is the first game I played that kind of reminded me a little bit of Time Splitters. You know, it's very time splittery in places, and I thought that was really cool. Yeah, and it's got a really good kind of point system where, you know, you get more kind of points and perks and stuff for doing different types of kills. And it's just a really solid first-person shooter. And again, you can get this for like £1. It's really good. So yeah, I definitely would pick this up if you say Body Count. Again, it's another game I've played more than once, a couple of times, and it's just a lot of this game. What this game has, you know, is the most important thing in gaming. It's fun, and this was really good. Just, you know, it's a no-brainer. You don't have to think too much. Just kick back. You've got a gun, and you're just shooting loads of guys, and it's really good. And the AI in it's pretty decent as well, and it gets really tough later on as well. Really tough. So yeah, totally recommend it. Body Count. And the last one I'm gonna mention in this particular episode, I call it an episode because I may do another one of these videos. And this is probably my favourite, most underrated game of all time, or my favourite game of all time that didn't sell. And it's the last game that this particular studio did, and this was a great studio. And the studio was Pandemic, and the game is the Subbuteo. Now, I absolutely adore this game. I just think it's got everything. It's got so many elements that I like within a game. It's an open world game, so it ticks that box. It's set in World War II, so an open world game set in World War II, so it ticks that box. It's got Nazis in it, so it ticks that box. It's just a fantastic, underrated game. The visual art style in it is amazing. I just love the way that it starts off in black and white, and as you regain certain parts of Paris within the game, the more that you take over the city, the colour returns to the city. The acting is a little bit cheesy in it, but it's also quite funny. The guy that you play is called Sean Devlin or something like that. he's like this Irish kind of guy who's, you know, he's a bit of a lad and everything, and it is a bit cheesy in places, but the amount, you know, it's kind of Just Cause crossed with Grand Theft Auto, crossed with, you know, Medal of Honor, all rolled into one. You know, you can just blow loads of stuff up. Yeah, it's got great shooting mechanics on it, great driving mechanics, got loads of cars you can collect in it, and there's just so much to do in this game, but with a really good World War II storyline and a really good environment as well. I mean, I really can't recommend this game though. I'm still trying to do all the there's little points on the map in there which you like. There's speakers you can blow up, propaganda speakers. There's guard towers to take down, and when you look at the map, they're all little dots on the map, and there must be about 500 or 600 or maybe 1,000 of these little things you can blow up. And there's actually trophy and achievement for doing them all. So, you know, even though I've finished this game a couple of times, I still go back to it now and again just to drive around and take out some more Nazi propaganda or take out a couple more guard towers, and it's just such a fun game. So yeah, I totally recommend this game. So that's it for now. That's sort of my first collection of games that I think were underrated or undersold, and yeah, that just, you know, games that you probably shouldn't miss out on and not misjudge just because they didn't sell that well. So hopefully I'll be back with another video soon. Please click the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.